Hey there, Mark Helton here with Hot Prospector, and today I've got some super strategies that I'm going to show you to get past even the most difficult, well-trained gatekeepers on the planet. So take out your notepad, take out a pen, make sure you take awesome notes because this stuff is going to change and elevate your sales game. So enjoy this. Do me a favor when you're done. Make sure to leave us a comment below. Let us know what you thought. And subscribe and like this channel because there's all kinds of sales training just like this that can help you out and get you more sales. Enjoy the training.
Okay, so let's talk about the gatekeeper. And as you see, I crossed out scripts and put in tips because you're not going to be able to really write a script for the gatekeeper because it's just always going to be different. But you should have a general idea of what you're going to say. So you could write something down. Just keep in mind that you're going to veer off immediately. Okay, so what's the objective of the gatekeeper script or tips? The objective for the gatekeeper is to get to the decision maker. That's it. It's very easy. That's it. We're not trying to talk the gatekeeper into selling the decision maker or, anything. Matter of fact, the less they know, the better. Okay? Who here has tried to pitch the gatekeeper before, right? Who's ever tried to do that? Yeah, don't do that anymore. So, the very first thing, obviously, is objective is to get to the decision maker. In order to do that, you have to have a certain personality. Everybody here is their own boss, right? If you're not your own boss, let me know. If you work for somebody here, let me know. Who do you work for? Everybody says, I work for me. I'm my own boss. Good. Good. When you get on the phone with the gatekeeper, pretend like you're a boss. If you really are a boss, then be the boss, right? You're the person that you're like just as important as the person they work for. So act like it, okay? Don't be hesitant. Don't be nervous. And all of these things that I'm teaching you is exactly what you can actually use these to teach your sales staff as well. Okay, but yeah, you want to be boss, be like confident. Again, back to what we were talking about. But have that persona that when you're talking to them, that this is important. I'm not a salesperson. This is important. I need to talk to your boss. Okay. Always use first names. Don't use first and last names. If you have, Richard Jones, don't ask for Mr. Jones. Don't ask for Richard Jones. And sometimes I'll just ask for their name by short, or their shortened version, right? Because most people don't go by their full name; they'll go by like Rich, right? So ask for Richard, or ask for Rich, or if it's Robert, you could always go out on a limb and ask for Bob, but just ask for them by their first name. The reason why is because they can detect automatically when somebody asks first and last name that you've never called there before and you don't know who you're asking for, or there's no reason for them to be talking to you. Okay? These are the things that I'm teaching you are going to get you right through to the decision maker. I have no problems getting through to the decision maker. If you can't get through to the decision maker at least 5-10 times a day, you're not going to get anywhere. Okay? So be boss and use first names. Now, when you're talking to the gatekeeper, always data mine, because the gatekeeper really is your best friend. They're going to tell you everything that you need to know in order to close that deal. And the way you want to do it is in a simple, non-intrusive way. Asking them specific questions like, hey, can I get your cell phone number, or so-and-so's cell phone number? Anything that you want to ask, just ask it in a simple way. Don't try to ask questions like, that are too intrusive, because what's going to happen is they're going to say, well, I'm not telling you that information. I'm not allowed to give that information. I'm sorry. Okay. Absolutely, Richard. They will give the cell phone number. Absolutely, they'll give the cell phone number. And that actually brings me to the next point. Never ask, tell. Okay. It depends on how you ask or how you tell them to do anything. All right. Whenever I ask to be put through to Richard, I would say, I'll hold for Richard, thanks. Just like that. I didn't say, could you please put me through to Richard, please? Just say, I'll hold for Richard, thanks. Or, all right, and go ahead and give me Richard's cell phone number. Because I just told them to do it. You know, it's a direct order now. And the way you give that, if you are acting boss and you use their first name, you know, or you can even use some tricks. Another trick that I use is I might call up and I'll do this ahead of time. I'll say something like, yeah, I was trying to get a hold of Richard, and for whatever reason, I wasn't able to. I'm just going to shoot him over a quick email. What's his email? Give me his email. And they'll give it to me. And then, you know, another same exact technique works for getting the cell phone number. You know what? I just noticed Richard hasn't been in the office for the past few hours, and it's important I get in touch with him by the end of the day. What's his cell phone number? Give me a cell phone number. Okay? When you ask, you will get it if you tell them, and you ask in a telling type of fashion. I don't know if that makes sense, but those are the ways that I get through to the gatekeeper and get them to give me the information that I want. And once you get the mobile phone number or the cell phone number, you're good. You're good because you'll be able to get right through to the decision maker every time you call. Never volunteer up information, okay? And I know everybody here today has been in this situation before where you just, what do you call that? Diarrhea of the mouth, I guess. That's a gross way to say it, but that's it. I mean, people just start talking and they can't get those words to come back in. You know, they just start volunteering everything, and next thing you know, the gatekeeper knows exactly what you're coming for or calling for, and they're now in gatekeeper mode, which means you ain't getting nowhere. You might as well put that lead off and call them in a week, because you know, give them some time to forget who you are, because you're now a salesperson. So don't volunteer any information. It's none of their business. They think it is. Their job is one thing and one thing only, in my eyes. Put me through. That is it. Your job is to put me through. Right? You're patching me through. And, you know, give me any other information I want between the time that I call and not. Is this information helping you guys out so far? Yes? Okay, good. All right. So, next. Never pitch the gatekeeper. You don't want to pitch the gatekeeper for obvious reasons, because they can't do anything. They can't make a decision. No matter how excited you are, and no matter how much you think the gatekeeper is going to help you, they're not. The only thing that pitching the gatekeeper will ever successfully help you do is to not get through to the decision maker. That's it. If you pitch the gatekeeper, give up. You're never getting through the decision maker now. Now, this is one of my favorites. If asked, use answers with questions technique. Okay? Always respond to their question. If they ask you questions, right? If they ask you questions, answer their question, but then ask another question. Don't give them an example of that is basically you're not giving them an opportunity to ask you another question because you're controlling the call. Does that make sense? That is okay. How do I explain this? when you just answer a question, it's kind of like, you know, in a boxing match, right? Once you get hit with the left jab, if you don't do something, you're gonna get followed up with a hook or something, you know, an uppercut, something more damaging. Okay? It's the same type of situation. You're in a boxing match a little bit here. You're in a dance, but you're more in I like to consider it more of like a boxing match. You got to get out of there quickly. Dodge. Okay? And the best way to dodge is to answer them directly, but then immediately follow up with another question. So if you have your script in front of you, whatever you're asking, is John there? Yes, may I ask what this is called? What this is regarding? Yeah, this is regarding some information I just sent over to him earlier today. By the way, what's his email? That's an example. I mean, just make sure, and you'll know. That's why I say there's no way to script this situation, because it's always going to be different, but it's the same. You just need to know where your direction is with the gatekeeper. Okay? The best way to script it out is to actually have a list of all of the questions that you want to ask them, and just know that that is your objective, to get all of those questions answered and then move on. Does that clear some things up? Okay, good. Now the last thing on the list here is don't be afraid of voicemail. Okay? I personally don't have a problem going to voicemail, because especially if that's the only thing that I feel like I'm going to be able to get out of that gatekeeper, because there are some hard-headed gatekeepers there. They're just, maybe they got reprimanded one too many times for putting through salespeople. Guys like me that are good at getting what we want, sometimes it'll get them into a little bit of trouble. Why'd you send that call to me? He wouldn't let me off the phone. They probably got reprimanded. So, if worse comes to worse, just go to voicemail, if they'll put you through to voicemail. Because if you have a good voicemail script or presentation, and you follow my steps, then you'll have an opportunity of getting that person to call you back at least. Okay? How would you send info to him if you don't know his email already, Todd? Well, ask the gatekeeper. It's a perfect example. I always like to try to get all that information before I call. Buy good data, because it's going to help you a lot. But if you don't have the information, then just ask the gatekeeper. And again, I always teach people to call ahead of time before you actually play. Do 2 types of calls to the gatekeeper. I know it seems like an extra step, but it's worth it. Take an extra step, call a day before, and just get as much information out of the gatekeeper as you possibly can. Schedule it for a call back, then call them back and say, yeah, is Richard there? And then go right through to the decision maker. Get that other information ahead of time. Get the cell phone, get the mobile, whatever you can get. Get it, and then call the next time. All right? Okay, so here is an example of the script. Go ahead and print screen this. Okay? Now, my favorite way ahead of time is to call in and ask for the decision maker by name. If you do not have the decision maker's name, then you're going to have to get it. Now, the first thing to remember is the gatekeeper everybody likes to help, right? They want to feel like they're helping, and the gatekeeper's job is to help you. So first thing you want to do is ask for help. Hi, maybe you can help me. Usually they're going to follow up with the answer like, yeah, sure, what's up, right? You're asking a very polite question, and you're asking for them to help you, and nobody's going to be like, no, I'm not going to help you. What do you want? So, hi, maybe you can help me. And now the next thing is to identify the prospect. I'm looking for the person that, fill in the blank, whatever it is that you are looking for. Typically, the person that is going to make the decision is the person in charge, like the sales manager. This person who's making the person who makes sure that the company has enough sales. In smaller businesses, that's usually going to be the owner or somebody like that. If you have the name, you can mention that. Is that John? Just throw that out there. But typically, if I have the decision maker's name and I know it, I'll skip what I just said. I won't ask for further help, and I won't ask for the person that handles X. I'll just call and say, yep, is John there? It's Mark. Thanks. All right. Tell them to put you through. As I said before, I'll hold for John. Thanks. Now, if they question you at that point, don't be scared. Again, don't feel like, oh no, I'm not going to get through now. Just be confident. They're going to put me through. So be very matter of fact in your answers, like I just said. You know, as you heard my tone of voice when I asked for John, is John there? It's Mark. I don't sound like a salesperson. They don't know who I am. I could be anybody. I could be a customer. I could be anybody. Okay? Now, this is actually one of my favorite ways to get through. So if you're not paying attention, come back to the screen and definitely write this down, because this will get you through like almost every single time whenever a gatekeeper asks you the question, is he expecting your call? You guys know that, right? Everybody hears that. They're like, oh no, they're going to know I'm a salesperson now. No. Only if you let them know that. Here's my answer. Yeah. Actually, I'd send them some information from my head office, and I need to go over it by the end of the day today. I can hold for John. Thanks. That's it. Simple, right? Because now think about it. They're like wondering, well, wait a second. He sent some information from his head office. Man, if I mess up and I don't get this through to him because it's like now there's a deadline, it has to be done by the end of the day, I may get into trouble. And I don't want to get into trouble. Nobody wants to get in trouble, right? So they're going to do what they can at that point to try to get through, help get you through to the right person. Now, if John's not available, then they'll say, well, John's not available right now. Okay, sometimes I will just go ahead and ask for the gatekeeper's help. I'm like, okay, listen, because this is so important and I need to do this by the end of the day, what do you suggest? Should I leave him another voicemail? Or should I call back in an hour? You tell me what's best. And a lot of times they'll look at his calendar or whatever and they'll say, you know what, call back in an hour. That's probably the best. I'll put you through.
All right. So now what you got to do in order to get the most out of this is you need to put it into action. So take all those notes, take everything you just learned, get out there and start busting through those gatekeepers. And also, do me a favor, one more time, leave us a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. If you like my channel, subscribe. And also turn on the notifications so you don't miss future trainings just like this. All right, so again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.